Are you doing a lot of mindset work and using a lot of mindset tools, and you don't feel like you're still not feeling your best or you're not as productive as you could be? Well, today I'm going to share why mindset alone may not be enough. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you as well. Now, what I'm going to share today is a couple of things in this space. Now, obviously, mindset is very important. All right, a mindset I define as the attitude and behavior you have is very key. If you've got a poor mindset towards something, you're less likely to do it. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying, in this world of personal growth, and what I've learned from a couple of my top mentors in it, that sometimes we think, oh, mindset is everything, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that. I'm like I say, though, it is important, hence the name of this podcast. And obviously talking about self-esteem and confidence as well. There is something I really want to mention, though, because we're talking about why mindset may not necessarily be enough for one, you feeling good, and two, productivity. Now, I'm going to go into one or two things today, and I really want to just be really clear. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mental health professional. Okay. I'm just sharing my own experience, and I'm going to open up a little bit as well today because I want to be as open as I possibly can. And I want to share my journey. Now, I have, and I'm not saying, what you should and shouldn't do. Again, this is just sharing my experience, and I'm going to ask you some, or going to share some things with you today. I've in my life taken medication for stress and anxiety. And at times when it was really stressful and anxious, I was in the personal growth world. And when I wasn't on that medication, it was very hard to utilize some of the tools. And that's because a little bit of the biochemistry in my head. Again, this is just my own personal experience. And I just wanted to say this because it kind of annoys me when people, I've been in stuff when we got this big set of achievers all trying to hit this goal, like sort of sales goals in the coaching world, all these things, which is great. You got people who are very driven together, and it's better than, people who are defeated and feeling negative about themselves in life. It's obviously an upgrade from that. Yeah, I think people discredit sometimes what's going on in someone's mind. Now, you got to do the work. You got to push yourself out of the comfort zone. Of course you do. And that's why I created this podcast, to help you to do that. Yeah, if we're perhaps not taking the right food, we're perhaps deficient in something, perhaps we got sensitivities, perhaps there's a bit of an imbalance in there. Like, just having a good attitude, in my personal experience, is not enough, because it's just going to be reliant on willpower, and you're going to get absolutely exhausted. And again, this is just my own personal growth, my own personal experience. When I've heavily drunk and drunk too much, like, having a good mindset is going to make it it's good, but it's not going to be enough. Like, if you're hungover as anything, I don't know if you drink or you don't drink, and you've got like all these calls to make, all these people to talk to, it's going to be very, very difficult, because you've got a little bit of, depending on, again, your sensitivity, these things, we're all different. I want to be really clear on that. And that's why, if you're really concerned about this, go and obviously speak to a professional in an area. If you like, having the right attitude in that moment is not really going to be enough to move forward. And we're talking about both in performance, in terms of being able to operate, be productive, all these kind of things. And we're talking about your energy, your mood, right? Having the will to do so in those moments, having the right mindset, is not going to be enough. And that's what I really wanted to share, because I think a lot of the times in personal growth world, it's like, do, take action. And yeah, we miss out some of these important things. When I've noticed, when I've not had medication, which is relevant for me, may not be relevant for you, things to manage stress, I get my energy drained from like I've had my energy drained from like the racing thoughts, being exhausted. So, and this is something I haven't really shared much before uh, about like medication, things like that. And it's something I needed to take just to manage the biochemical ways of my mind. Now, obviously, all the psychology, all the mindset work I do makes a massive difference as well. And the two together work great for me. Yeah, I think sometimes things that go on that we might need individually are missed a lot of the time. And one thing that worked, and it's like a morning routine, like I'm going on a bit of tangent, but I'm trying to make this clear that we're all individuals and what we need made it. If someone tells you to do this, this, and this, yeah, you might need to push yourself through your comfort zone. And yeah, we need to know what we need for individuals. Now, I'm not saying if you go to the gym and your personal trainer comes up to you and says, right, you're going to run on the treadmill for 20 minutes doing some intervals, and you can do so. And then you're going to go like hit the free weight section, and I'm going to give you like another 20-minute workout. I'm not saying to come up with excuses straight away, say, well, I'm different, I'm individual, unless of course you are genuinely carrying an injury, of course, that's different. I'm saying that, we need to push sometimes. Yeah, we need to be considerate to ourselves of what we need as individuals. Okay. And again, like I can't tell you what you need. I've been really clear on that. If you really want to know what's going to be right for you, go and get some guidance from a proper professional. So there's the mindset. Now, mindset is driven by your psychology. And so, like I say, mindset are the conscious attitudes and beliefs and behaviors you've got, right? Psychology are the ongoing thought processes consciously and subconsciously. So it's really important to make yourself have as many positive words and thoughts in your head as possible. And you can train yourself to do that, even if it's 5 minutes a day of just doing that. And like I say, it's also other factors need to be in consideration, like biochemistry. Now, if you want to study the brain a little bit more, one recommendation I'm going to give, again, you can take it or leave it, is a guy called Dr. Amen. He's really, really good with the brain health. And he paired up with one of my mentors I've mentioned before, Joseph McClendon, and they did a whole program together, both on the psychology and on the brain health, what you need in terms of the physical side of your brain and also the psychology, which is what Joseph taught. And it's a really, really good program. That really, really helped me. So now let's go into some tips. Once again, these are just 3 things I'm going to leave you with. And again, like just from my own experience that I'm going to just invite you to listen to and see how you feel about these. So, and what we're talking about is how you can really optimize your performance, your mood, your energy, these kind of things. These are what work for me. The first thing is journal, to be aware of maybe things that knock you back. So both from a psychology perspective and maybe a food or sensitivity perspective. So maybe like you suddenly you think about something or you focus on something, maybe it's the news, for example, which I will continue, obviously, talk about because it's for me personally not a good thing. Maybe you feel down after that. Maybe there's a particular person you hang out with. Maybe also there's a particular food you have. Maybe it's like alcohol, like it's been for me, where when you have a lot, you feel pretty down, pretty depressed, and it has actually got a depressant in it. So that makes sense. Now we're all different. Again, for you, there may be certain foods. People say they got sensitivities to gluten. Some people do, some people don't. Stop taking notice of when maybe your energy dips, your mood dips, like no apparent reason. What have you eaten? What have you been listening to recently in the recent like half an hour, 30 minutes to an hour? Just start logging that down, even if it's on your phone, and you can review it at the end of the week. And when you start becoming more conscious, it really helps. On the other side, stop noticing when you've got an increase in your mood, when you start feeling good. Maybe like when you eat when I've had a really good fruit salad, for example, I remember in America, I had a really lovely fruit salad. It had like mango, melon, all sorts in it. Not just those 2, but quite a lot. And then I just felt so energized, so amazing, right? maybe also hanging out with a particular person gives you energy. There's certainly people I can think of in my life who just raise my energy and I start feeling good. Start making notice on that on the other side. Because when you become more conscious to your good behavior, you can start thinking, how do I get more of this into my life? And then the third one is, I just wanted to re-emphasize this. If you're noticing perhaps mood swings in certain ways, do go and speak to a professional, whether that's like a doctor, whether it's a nutritionist. Speak to someone who's got a good record, they're a professional, because they'll be able to talk you through this thing through experience of working through many other people. And that's what I did. And again, these are just what I've personally done, but I thought it was really important to share these things. I've obviously got an additional tip for you as well. But really important to share this because it does slightly annoy me when people are just like, it's all mindset. It is not just all mindset. Mindset is important. There are other factors and individual differences that affect our performance. In my personal view, and other people shared this with me. I've got close people in my life who shared this with me as well. That affect our performance. And then some person could do a task, the other person may not be able to do it if they're not having the right stuff. Okay. We've always got to take those individual differences account. So I just want to share my perspective on that. And for example, like I shared that I take certain medication. So that's just my point of view, right? And like when I've not had that, it affects me, right? So that's what I want to share with you today. Now, just before I get onto my final point, I want to appreciate you for listening today. And if you want to come and hang out with me for more inspiration, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is @Johnny.Pardo. Okay, and then my final point really is start educating yourself on this stuff. If you want to learn more, like I suggested Dr. Amen, just start studying experts. Just study. You can talk to one, but of course you can study these experts. Always check someone's background and think, are they the right person for you? The more you can understand the credibility of an expert, the more you're going to feel comfortable with them. So obviously make sure it's not just someone, if you really want to learn about a specific challenge maybe you're facing, don't just like find a random person who's just like talking on the internet and they've got no background or things about it. Obviously, you can find someone credible to learn from and listen to as well. So that's what I've got for you today. Once again, if you want to come and hang out with me on Instagram, we'd love to. My handle is @Johnny.Pardo. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you're in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.